Welcome to the One Hand at a Time podcast. I'm your host, Chris Welton, and I have a really special guest for you today. Someone that is, I know, going to bring impactful conversations. And we're actually going to have a little conversation here with two people with limb differences and let you kind of into our world. You know, we see everybody else's world every day, and we're going to let you into our world. But my guest today is a Paralympic gold medalist. Think about that for a second. We overcome challenges and adversity because of this limb difference, and I find it as an advantage in my life personally. And now to go out and excel in a sport and become the best in the world. So I want to welcome Amy Truesdale to the One Hand at a Time show.
Thank you for having me. That was a lovely introduction. Thank you.
Oh, of course, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. So, I'm sure it's been a whirlwind the last couple months, right? Like just
Yeah, it's been crazy. I got back just the first week in September. So yeah, it was an amazing experience out there. And I suppose it's just finding a little bit of normality after being on such a high. It is natural to go on a little bit of a low
Mhm.
because obviously you've been working your whole life towards that goal. So then when you achieve it, it's like, okay, that's amazing. But now what's my actual plan moving forwards? So yeah, a bit
Yeah,
of a whirlwind, a bit of a roller coaster, but all the same, it's been amazing.
I'm sure that they talk. I have a friend of mine who's a guy named by the name of LaShawn Merritt. He's a three-time Olympic gold medalist in the 400 meters, and he talked a lot about that after winning his first gold medal. It was like we're there, and now what, right? They don't prepare you
Yeah.
for the now what, right? They prepare you to get there, but now what,
Oh,
right?
yeah, definitely. And I think with an athlete, well, in all aspects of life, not even being an athlete, you always have a goal and you're striving for the next thing and the next thing. And now you get to that point, it's like, oh, what is the next thing? So I think I can just chill for a bit. Like I'm not in a rush to chase the next goal. It's just try and be a bit present and enjoy the moment as it stands.
Yeah. Do you wake up in the morning and still and go, "Oh my gosh, I won the gold medal"? Is that still
Yeah,
come?
yeah, I've been sleeping with it under my pillow like
Yeah,
every single night, no
yeah.
joke. And I think the first couple of days, I kept like waking up in the middle of the night, checking, oh no, it is gold. And I was like,
Yeah.
everyone thought I was a bit weird, but I was like, oh, I'm just making sure.
I love that. I would probably wear mine around all the time if I had a gold medal. That's probably what I would do. Like, the first time I got to hang out with LaShawn, he had all three of his on. He came to the meeting we were in and wore all three of them as a focal point to try to talk it through. But it was pretty cool. But so you win, right? You represent your country. Now you're the best in the world. Um, and what are you going to do? And we talk about this very brief, but what are you going to do next? Like, what's the next thing? Are you going to coach? Are you going to? I mean, you've been traveling a lot since then, right? Like, have you been all over the place since you won?
No, to be honest, not too much at the moment. Like I've done a couple of appearances, just volunteering at some sporting events. I'm taking a holiday next week, and then I will be going back into training. Like the way it stands at the moment, I probably will train for the next games, which is obviously LA in 2028. So that will
Mhm.
be my plan. And then probably do some coaching alongside being a full-time athlete. I did used to coach before as a full-time athlete, and it's definitely an avenue that I want to go back into post-retirement. So I think getting as much experience as I can in that area, passing on my knowledge to the next generation is something I'm really passionate about. So I'll probably do that and then train full-time as well.
So, as a Paralympic athlete, do you train with other Olympic athletes, or are you training with people with limb differences? Like, I'm just curious. I don't know how that whole space works, especially in the Taekwondo space. Like, that's you know, I find like if you were in the pool, you're training one on one, right? You're swimming and or whatever. But now you're in a fighting spot. Do you train with other Paralympic athletes?
Yeah, so it's the way it is. We're based in Manchester, England. So it's the Olympic team and the Paralympic team were all under one roof. So that's where
Mm.
our headquarters, like the National Taekwondo Centre, is. We are in separate groups. So like the Olympic girls will train together, the Olympic boys will train together, and then the Parapod itself will train together. So it is the para team. So it is other athletes with limb differences that we train with because the Olympic and the Paralympic rules in Taekwondo are different and everyone's on different training plans. However, we do have training partners that are, I suppose, able-bodied athletes that we do train with as well.
Yeah, I love the fact that you train in the same facilities with all of them. So I want to get off the Olympics a little bit. I just want to talk about life with a limb difference. And I'm 52, so we're a different generation, right? And I was telling the story to my wife the other day, and I was like, man, I wish I would have known about Paralympics when I was a kid. I was an athlete. I played several different sports, but I know I could have been in that realm, or I feel like I could have at least had something to drive or strive for. But so I was born with my arm this way. Were you born with the
Yeah,
same?
exactly the same. I was born with mine. So yeah.
Yeah.
Is yours left
My,
side as well?
yeah, left side, but
There we go.
my elbow is naturally
Yeah.
fused, so it doesn't
Oh,
bend.
okay.
It's
Oh,
only
really?
crooked because I broke it playing football.
Oh,
It used
right.
to be straight,
Okay.
and I broke it playing football.
No way.
Um, yeah, so it does not bend. Um, but you know, at a young age, I always felt like I was kind of an outsider. Like there wasn't social media, there wasn't I would randomly every now and then when I went to like the Shriners Hospital to get treatment or just for because I had a prosthetic for a while,
Okay.
I would see other kids with limb differences, and then like that would be such a it'd be exciting for me to see that. I think with social media, it's helped now that a lot of these kids and a lot of the stuff that you and I both follow, probably the Nub Athletics, the Lucky Finn Project, and all of those situations. So, like, did you feel different right away as a kid? I mean, like, how did you feel growing up with a limb difference?
To be honest, I think my experience as a child, I literally just got stuck in and I cracked on with it. And obviously, yeah, I knew I was different, but I think because if I was in school or at a sports club, like Taekwondo dancing, because they were the activities I did when I was younger, I just did exactly the same as everyone
Mhm.
else. And I think the way my parents were with me, they were quite, I'd say, cruel to be kind. It was like they wouldn't help me do stuff, so they sort of forced my independence to learn how to do things in my own way. I'd say any sort of issues or maybe prejudice was probably as I got older into my 20s. I think I experienced it more as an adult than what I did as a child, which was quite interesting, really.
So, for me, I think a lot of it was I played sports. Like I said, that was the what I felt leveled the playing field. Um, I was always bigger. I'm 6'5", so I was a bigger guy compared to most kids.
Yeah.
So I'm stronger and I could do a lot of different things. But I would use sports as a playing level. It made me feel more normal-ish because I was on the basketball court or on the baseball diamond or playing football with, and I mean American football, by the way,
Yeah,
not
I
the
know, I know.
yeah, yeah. Rugby with pads, basically. So with it felt like it would level the playing field for me in that space, and it gave me the confidence to later in life. Like I can go back and I can look at, okay, well, I played high school football and I played baseball and I did all these things. Like I can draw strength from that. So, but I felt more. I don't know if it's like bully. I was bullied a lot when I was younger with it. Like people would point, make fun, say things. Um, as you get older, not nearly as much. Maybe because I'm a lot bigger than they are. I don't know. but when I was a kid, it was definitely a focal point.
Yeah, I think though kids, though they're so innocent, aren't they? They just say things because
Yeah.
they're so like inquisitive. Like I was at an event the other day, and like this kid was like, "Oh, he's like, you've got half an arm." He's like, "But I seen you 5 minutes ago and you had two." And I was like, "No, I've always had half. It's just you didn't recognise." And like you get loads of comments all the time, but I think kids, like from my experience, kids will notice it and then they just get on with the next thing or carry on
Yeah.
playing. But for me, I've had it like really bad off adults, and I think
Hmm.
they are a lot worse. And yeah, that's been my experience. I feel like society does put limitations on you based on face value before they get to know you as an individual, which I do find very frustrating. And, I will try my best to educate people. And I would much prefer somebody to go, "Oh, if you don't mind me asking, why is your arm like that or what
Mhm.
happened?" Than some of the comments I've had over adults over the years, it's quite like gobsmacking. You think, wow, like it's crazy some things that people say.
Yeah, I agree. I've had some things like when I first started dating my wife, I had people come to me and they'd say, "Is he a wounded warrior? Did he fight
Right,
in the war?"
yeah.
I'm like, "No, he didn't fight in the war. He was just born this way." And she would say, "Well, he's a congenital amputee," and they don't even know what congenital means. So like,
Yeah.
so it would throw us for a spin. But what kind of edge do you think it gives you? Like,
I think for me, because you know you are different, and like I said, for me, it's always society making assumptions and putting limitations on you. It's that proof. So it's like I've got to prove to myself and to you that I can do the same as you, or I can do it better. So I think that's always your motivation. And then if somebody's like, "Oh, well, you can't do that, you've got one arm," it's like, okay, watch me.
yeah,
And it's like, even if it takes me twice the amount of time or twice the amount of effort, I'll find a way eventually. So I think it's just having that resilience and being adaptable, isn't it? And just proving to yourself and other people that you can achieve it.
yeah, I think it gives me a definite, I would say, arm up on the competition. um, just in so many ways, right? Like, when we're young, we don't want to be different, right, Amy? Like when you're a kid, you want to fit in. When you're older, you want to be different. Well, we got you different. Like you can't even keep up with us. Like you do whatever you're gonna do. Like we are different. We've been different our whole lives, and we have an advantage. And I think that there's a winning mindset that comes with that because of we're definitely better problem solvers than most people, right? Like how do I carry all the groceries in? Well, man, I can stack like 6 bags of groceries on
Yeah.
the wall. You know what I mean? Like I'm a problem solver because I had to figure it out that way, right? Like we couldn't watch what other people did. We had to create our own solutions to those problems. And I think
Yeah.
that
So
that's a big win
yeah.
for us.
Yeah, totally. I'm exactly the same. I do exactly the same as that. But yeah, you've just got to find a way because you've got no one helping you. So it's like, yeah, you just got to be adaptable to whatever situation.
Yep. Did you ever have a prosthetic or have you always gone without?
So I did have one as a child, only because everyone in primary school
Mhm.
or kindergarten, is that what you
Yep.
say? Like was doing handstands and cartwheels, and I thought, oh, I'd love to be able to do that. And obviously, I could do a one-handed cartwheel, but I
Mhm.
wanted to do handstands, so I got a prosthetic for that. Um, and then I tried using it in other situations, and I thought it was like more of a hindrance to me
Mhm.
because obviously I'm not used to having an
Yep.
additional bit on my arm. So for the handstands, it was really cool. But then after that, no, I didn't need one.
Yeah, I had it when I was young because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to look somewhat normal, and it just was completely awkward because I'd never had that limb before, right? So like my brain, I don't think my brain could adapt to it. Now, if I'd lost it, I think it's different. I have a good friend of mine. His name's Shawnee Whitaker. He's lost his leg just below the knee when we were about 16 or 17 in a car accident. He's the
Oh,
U.S. Open surfing champion now, and but he has a prosthetic. It's a leg, but he wouldn't know different. You know what I mean? Like that's just how he's done with it. But I think if you're born the way we were, it's hard to adapt to put an arm on there. Like I just think that it's hard to get your brain to process it that way.
yeah, of course. It's like it's a foreign object at the end of the day. It's probably be the same if you
Mhm.
had two arms and then now you've got like a small limb.
Mhm.
So yeah, but it's quite hard, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So you talk about competing again. So you're going to go for try to be back to back gold medal champion in 4 years from now.
Yeah, that's the aim. It's like I haven't got like an initial job to walk into straight away. Like coaching is probably an area that I will go into at retirement, but at the moment I'm just going to take a break and then yeah, I will be prepping for LA. Because I know Para Taekwondo is going to be in LA as a core sport. And then who knows, maybe retire after that.
And then retirement would, I mean, be coaching, doing something along those lines.
Yeah, I think that'll be the way forward for me. Just like mentoring other athletes. I think raising more awareness around disabled people in sport, like just making sure they're aware that they do have opportunities as disabled people. That it doesn't have to be taekwondo. There's so many other sports out there.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I think just raising awareness around that really.
Yeah, I think it's amazing when I see kids doing all the different things they're doing today and they see the possibilities, right? The possibilities are endless. And especially in with the Paralympics and just sports in general, you know, social media has been a key to that. Like that's how we met like a week ago. We
Yeah,
connected on Instagram, right? So that's how we met, right? So like, um, the opportunities that the kids have now because they have someone like you to look up to. I mean, it's an amazing thing. But there's a lot of burden on that too, right? Like you've got to, do you feel any stress about being that person that's going to help lead these kids to maybe become Paralympic champions too?
No, not at all. It's just like you say, like, when I was a kid, I didn't even know anything about parasport because
Mhm.
like I was a multiple world champion in able-bodied Taekwondo because I went to a mainstream Taekwondo club for like 22 years. So I had a separate career to even doing this. Um, so yeah, it's crazy how many opportunities kids do get. But yeah, I feel really privileged that I can be like a face um, to represent like individuals who have got a disability, and it's really good that I can have conversation with young children and parents. Like if they've got like a child who's very young and they've got questions about certain milestones in the kid's life that they might have to overcome or challenges they might face, I'm very honest and I can give my experience of what I've been through. So yeah, I feel really privileged that I can have those conversations and support other people.
So why Taekwondo? What drew you to Taekwondo at such an early age?
I think it was my parents really. They just thought having daughters, like the world's not always a safe place, and they wanted us to like learn like a life skill. To Taekwondo being obviously a martial art, you learn self-defense. It's kicking, it's active. They just wanted us to learn a life skill and probably keep us out of trouble. Really, do something positive instead of messing about with your mates. So that's exactly what we did. Just started at a young age. I'd always loved like the Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and Van
Mhm.
Damme sort of
Yeah.
movies anyway. So for me, it was like, oh, this is really cool. So I went to my first Taekwondo class at the age of 8. And I was like, yes, this is definitely the sport for me. Loved it straight away.
What about the disciplines you've learned from Taekwondo as far as they translate into other areas of your life?
Yeah, I think it's massive. I think there's so many transferable skills. I think even like from being a kid, just being respectful to your elders, having that sort of courtesy, I think that's a big thing. So that leaks into your everyday life. Obviously, your training's very structured, so it's following certain training plans. It'll be turning up at an appropriate time. It'll be having the respect to the instructor. Certain areas like you might be learning the patterns, which is like katas, where you learn set movements. It's then you're learning patterns and you're increasing like your cognitive ability because you're learning set sequences. You're then improving your coordination. There's so much into it, and it just leaks into your everyday life. So yeah, it's really valuable.
Yeah, I think that's, so I have two older daughters. I have a daughter who is 31 and I have a daughter who's 25. My 31-year-old was not into sports really. She's an entrepreneur and has a food truck and getting ready to open a restaurant and stuff. But my 25-year-old daughter was a competitive dancer and cheerleader from the time she was 3 till she went to college. The disciplines that she learned from just having to show up somewhere 4 or 5 times a week and stay focused caused her to be
Yeah,
an incredible student, right?
yeah,
Like because those are the disciplines you learn from doing something you enjoy will cross over to things you may not enjoy as far as
yeah,
keeping you focused and staying on task. And I think that's such a big deal when it comes to being active. And it could be in anything. Like you could be studying violin for 20 years or whatever it is, but I think you have to do something other than just not be active, whether it's violin, whether it's sports, whatever it is. And it sets you up for success later in life, right? I mean, it just, because now throw some adversity at Amy. What's Amy going to do? Well, Amy knows that you know how to deal with adversity, right? Like in anything, it could be something you challenge today. Um, when I want to know what it felt like to have the gold medal put over your head.
I think for me it was just like probably a little bit of relief. And then I think for me it was just like I felt really proud of myself because I know what I've put into it over the last few years. I know how talented I am physically. I think mentally sometimes I am painfully hard on myself, which has always took me away from my goal. It's never been like my physical capabilities, because my Taekwondo is very good. So sometimes my mental resilience would put me at a disadvantage when I'm fighting. So I think, yeah, getting the gold medal, it was like, I'm really proud of myself and it's where I should be. I felt like I really deserved it. So yeah, I was just really happy.
Yeah, was reading some stuff on you this morning, and I again I apologize for the conflict, the miscommunication on the schedule. But I was reading some stuff this morning. So in 2021 in Tokyo, it obviously didn't finish the way you wanted to finish, and a lot of people may have said, "Okay, I'm done. I'm going to retire at that point." Was that the driving force to really get you through the next 3 years to get back in to go for the gold?
Yeah, definitely. Like for me, I went into Tokyo. I was like ranked number 1 in the world. I'd won the test event the year before. I got gold in Tokyo. Um, so like I knew I was capable of getting gold. Ended up getting a bronze in that competition, and it was just like, when I come home from Tokyo, I was like, there's no way my journey's over, because I know I'm capable to get gold. So it was like, I'm not leaving it until it's done. So yeah, then obviously that was my driving force going into Paris. It was like I had to reflect on Tokyo, like what went well, what did I do that I need to improve for next time, worked on those areas, which again was a lot of mental skills, and then implemented that for Paris.
Yeah, can we talk a little bit more about the mental aspect of it? Like you just kind of opened it up a little bit there, but like you have all this physical talent because you've done rep after rep after rep after, like it's right, you're just putting in the work for 20 plus years. What do you do when you start to stray mentally? What do you do when you have some self-doubt come in, or you're not mentally focused? I'm just curious what your routine is to get back on track.
So for me, I just had to go back to basics really. There was a lot of times, especially in Tokyo, I was focusing on so much that was not within my control. To focus on external stuff that I have no control over. So it was literally simple things of reminders of what is in my control. Okay, so things like how I turn up for training, my behaviour, my attitude in training, am I on time? Simple things like that. I can't control who's turning up on the day, what my draw is, who I'm going to fight. So it's like, why am I stressing about these things? Um, so literally just going back to basics, just focusing on how I present myself and what's within my control was how I've got back on track. And I think knowing that I'm not just doing this for myself, I'm doing it to hopefully inspire the next generation of athletes that will come through. So it's not just for my internal gratification, it's to inspire the next set of athletes.
I love what you said there, and I do something similar. I call it stacking wins. I do a small few things every day before I take on the world. And and if I've got some wins, momentum, you can throw whatever you want at me and I can control it. But if I don't stack those wins early and the day throws at me, I take on everybody else's adversity and problems, and then my day doesn't end the way I want it to.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think yeah, you like as individuals, like you do need to probably celebrate the small wins of the day. Like for some people, it might be okay. I've got out of bed and had a shower this morning. Well, yeah, that's an amazing achievement if you've been struggling to do that. So yeah, for me, just yeah, definitely celebrate the small wins.
Yeah, I love that. And so, who do you have a mentor you talk to when you need some extra advice? You have, I mean, besides your coaches, is there a you guys have a mental toughness coach or anything like that you work with to keep your
Um,
child
we
in?
do have like a performance sports psychologist who will be in like once a week, and we can have catch ups with him. So yeah, that's something that I would access for like an hour a week. But then I'll do my own stuff at home, whether that's journaling, whether it's speaking it out, or whatever I need to go through in my own time.
Yeah, I love to journal out. I love to get the stuff out of my head because if it sits there, then it manifests into something that's not like what where did that thought even come from? Like that's the
Yeah,
craziest thing ever. Like get this
yeah,
out on paper and leave it alone, right?
yeah.
Well, I love the fact that I do something that a gold medalist does, so that makes me feel really good about myself. So thank you for sharing that. For
No
sharing that.
problem.
Yeah, look, I wanted to make sure you came on here just so we could have a conversation and let everybody know first to celebrate you because your accomplishments are incredible.
Thank
Um,
you.
but second of all, like we need to be more camera forward facing for the kids that are born with limb differences, or adults that haven't heard of anything yet, or that are still doubting themselves. I mean, I've been very successful in business, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I have a limb difference, and it's given me the mental fortitude to go ahead and find strength through adversity, right? But not everybody's aware of that. So it's important for you and I to share our stories to as many people that'll listen, and then tell them all again, because sometimes it doesn't hit in the right season, right? So I love the fact that you talked about you do this for other people. It's not for you, right? I mean, that's how I feel. My whole thing is impact. I want to have as massive impact on people as I possibly can and leave a legacy behind. And I feel that that's the same direction you're going. Like, you want to help other people show what's possible by sacrificing and putting in the work to maybe shorten their learning curve a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometimes because like we're used to being like this, you don't realise the impact you do have on other people. But yeah, it just shows that you can achieve whatever you want. I think, yeah, we definitely just need to tell our story because it will definitely inspire someone if they've got a limb difference or they haven't.
Yep, I agree. And I have people coming to me at the gym and they're like, "You inspire me. If you're in here doing it, then I can do it." I'm like, "Well, I'm here.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm here doing it for everybody. Also because I want to be healthy." I talked about my daughters. I have a son who's 9 months old, so I've got a 30-year age
Oh
gap from
my
my oldest to my youngest.
word.
So I have to be fit, Amy. I got to take care of myself. I've got to get in the gym and lift weights like I do, because he's a roughhouser already at 9 months. So, I got to
That's
be ready for him.
impressive. Fair play to you. Fair play. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
it is. It is for sure. So, um, look, I want to make sure everybody knows about you. We'll push this everywhere. Um, and is there anything you want to tell anybody, a best way to follow you or connect and just learn more from you?
I think the best place to follow me is my Instagram page, which is
Mhm.
at Truesdale Amy. So that's got a lot of stuff about inclusion. It's got a lot of me probably posing, a lot of Taekwondo kicking. So yeah, give me a follow. That'll be just keep you up to date with my progress and success.
Yep. Definitely check her page out. And again, that's how we connected. We connected through social media. It's an amazing, amazing thing for when you do it for the right reasons.
Correct.
Yep.
When it's used correctly, it's
Yeah.
amazing
Yeah.
the people you can connect with.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on the show today, Amy. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. It's been brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the One Hand at a Time podcast. Please make sure you like and share the episode, and we'll see you next time here at the One Hand at a Time podcast. Make it a great day.